am. Oh, let me turn on my light. I forgot about my light. You know, the one that blinds me in the face? Oh, I don't even have the dang thing plugged in. Hold on. Oh. Woo! Woo! That's more like it. Damn. Oh, man. Hold on. I gotta put on my sunglasses. All right. Well, you probably saw that thumbnail. And let me get everything going here. All right. I'm always on here. While I'm watching myself, I'm always hearing a delay in it. It's even a delay on my phone. So there's two things that I want. I mean, this is what came up this week. That's what this is going to be, I guess. You know, I'm just picking and poking and feeling around. Okay? Last week, fantastic. I visited all those places, all those websites, all that stuff y'all told me about. Evans Boat Works. I went and looked at over there in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. That boat builder. I looked at them. Oh my God. They were unbelievable boats. Dave Farrell, that's who it was. Dave Farrell said, yeah, I got this boat builder right near me. They're called XTX. I don't know what it was. And that didn't really ring a bell until he named the model. I can't remember the model. I got too much in my head to try to remember everything from last Sunday. But from last Sunday to now, there's a couple things that kind of went on that I thought were quite interesting. I'm walking through my local Wally's World, as I always seem to do. And I picked up, not that I don't know, but, you know, I picked up the new fishing regulations. And right off the get-go, now I may be a little bit behind the times, but that right there, do you know what that is? That's a fish descending device. A fish descending device. Okay. That is the reason why I'm not going to go out and offshore bottom fish. Man, I used to be so into it. I put 5 years like blinders on and did nothing but bottom fish, all the way out to like 50 something miles offshore. I did it with friends. We even commercial hook and lined because one of them had all of his permits and everything and he sold the fish. Okay. But this is what bottom fishing in Florida has come to. And I'll tell you, it kind of goes with this time of year. This time of year, December, me and friends of mine would get together on a foggy morning. And it would usually be like me and 2 other boats. And we'd go out to some near shore lime rock ledges because that is the majority of all the structure that's offshore of Jacksonville. And we wouldn't go far, 6, 8 miles, maybe 10, right? And the ocean would be as slick as the front of this magazine, which happens to be the Florida Saltwater Recreational Fishing Regulations. Okay. And we used to go out for one thing. And that was, and I mean, once a year now, I'm talking once a year. This isn't like we're going out and we're like raping the ocean. Okay. We used to go out for sea bass. And back then, I believe sea bass had a size limit of like 10 inches or something, right? And it was pretty much, I don't believe it had any How you doing, Alex and Blinda Binda? That's who I can see. Oh, Alex goes Trump 2024. We all ready on that? Okay. Well, me and friends of mine used to go out. It would be slick, calm ocean. Slick, calm. Oh, Shore Sharp. Glad to see you in there. Ryan? Yep, Shore Sharp's in here. So we used to go out and we'd take light tackle, like our trout tackle, and egg sinkers, and a bag of cuttlefish. If you don't know what a cuttlefish is, they're these little tiny squids that are tougher than the bottom of your shoe. I mean, I remember a friend of mine, he caught 21 sea bass off of one little cuttlefish. And we used to go out and, yeah, pretty much fill the cooler on my boat. I had a buddy with me. Another boat would have another guy, two boats. It was like 2 or 3 guys per boat. And we'd go out and we'd find the sea bass. And we would line up and anchor next to each other and just get them going, man. I'm talking on the way down. You're just putting your boat up on them and you're bringing up these big old greenhead male sea bass. And we all had a boat limit. If those things ain't 12 inches, don't put them in the damn box because nobody wants to clean them. 12 inches was the boat limit. At least it was on my boat, and I know it was on everybody else's. Okay, that was out there. And we'd come back between two of us, 30, 40, 50 sea bass. Okay? And there was absolutely no problem to catch them just on the cuddles. We didn't catch many snapper, really. We didn't catch many grouper, really. Well, if we did, it was all small. And we did that maybe once, maybe twice in the month of December. Well, the long story short is the reason fishing regulations exist, I mean, what makes you feel like it, okay, is for the sheer fact that they really don't want you to fish. They don't want recreational fishermen. That's that socialistic Marxist government, I guess, that just keeps pushing and pushing. Even in the free state of Florida, it doesn't matter, you know. I've never tried sea bass. I'd love to. We don't have them here in New Hampshire. Oh, yeah. I guess you don't. I don't know where their furthest reaches are. I know they catch them, I guess, in Buzzards Bay, Massachusetts or something. I've seen them, god dang, like that. They get way bigger up north. But just using sea bass as an example here, here's what we've come to 20 years later, or not even 20 years. Black sea bass, Atlantic Ocean, in Florida, 13 inches, 7 per harvester. 7 per harvester. Okay, well that's 14 fillets. Okay, yeah, I believe they're in the Massachusetts area. Who said that? Blind Abinda? Yeah. Sea bass are loaded up in New York. Yeah, I mean, there's sea bass. I mean, I don't know why you don't have them off the New Hampshire coast. I know you all got, what, a coast about this big? Yeah, I think you got a coast. You and New Hampshire and, what is it? Alabama. Y'all share a coast about that big. Okay. But I mean, I started looking at these regulations. I mean, I'm familiar with them. Okay, but let's put it this way. Unless you had to get to work, if they made the speed limit 20 miles an hour everywhere, would you still own a car? Would you still be driving around? Take taking work out of the equation. You're independently wealthy, let's say, or whatever. You don't have to work. You're retired. I don't know, whatever. It's just they're making it now where I can tell you my customers, and they're not even offshore customers. These are people that know they're going inshore fishing, okay? They are from Oklahoma, Nebraska, Iowa, all those interior states. Where's my map? I got a map here. Okay, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Okay. And the whole idea is they think I'm fishing salt water. I am providing myself with dinners. Well, no, you're not. Because if I catch even 7, and I'm only using sea bass here as an example, 7 sea bass that are 13 inches, okay, which you will not catch at the same places that we used to go. You won't catch them because there is no 13 inches 6, 7, 8 miles outside the Mayport jetties where I fish. Okay, you're not going to be providing yourself with very much dinner, are you? But this is the reason I say the Gulf of Mexico is always better than the Atlantic. Gulf of Mexico, 10-inch sea bass, 100 pounds per harvester. Because you know why? The Gulf of Mexico is not managed the same as the Atlantic. People think it is. They think Florida, it's all the same. No, it's not the same. And it really pisses me the hell off. And you know why? In the state of Florida? Because all the big cities are located on the East Coast. Basically. And that one city is, let's say, Boca Raton through South Miami. That's all one strip of shit. All the way down, solid concrete jungle. That's why. Okay, here's another one that gets me. Wasn't cobia 32 inches to the fork? Who can tell me that? Who's out there that knows what cobia was? I swear it was 32 fork length or 33-inch fork length prior years. Now I see it says Atlantic, 1 per harvester, not to exceed 2 per vessel. So that means you just get 2. Okay. People fish it too hard. What, the Atlantic Ocean? 42 Marcia. I guess, I don't know. Am I pronouncing that right? Marica? Okay, well, either way, they fish it too hard, and that's the reason I don't fish it, because Cobra is 36 inch here. No, I know you mean cobia. Yeah, cobia. So it's 36 inches here now. Okay, let's take a look at some other species. I mean, it's not that I didn't know this. I mean, kind of going in, right? But I don't necessarily go sea bass fishing anymore because it's not worth the fuel costs. Okay, here's one that really kills me in the state of Florida. If Orwalk jumps in here, or even Shore Sharp, how about this? Bluefish, as I refer to as, I got the name right. Sea bass is 12.5 in Delaware. Okay, 12.5 inches in Delaware. Me with knives, okay. All right, bluefish, as I refer to as the green scourge of all fish. Saltwater piranha. I despise them. And I didn't know this. I mean, I kind of had an idea. I thought it was 10 or something like that. Atlantic, 3 per person at 12 inches. We're trying to protect bluefish in the state of Florida? Are you kidding me? I can't tell you a single person who likes them other than bait. All right, well, they did one thing that was long overdue. Okay, used to be able to keep it 10 inches in New Hampshire. Now it's any size. What'd you say? Let's see. Somebody said something about, bluefish used to be able to keep 10 in New Hampshire, any size. Now it's 3 each. Yeah, isn't that bullshit? And in New Hampshire, now it's 3 too? Well, 3 being here, I could care less about bluefish. Hey, there's Orwalk. Better late than never. Orwalk. Well, Dr. Gary, lateness is his middle name. Bluefish, a.k.a. yellow-eyed demons, 3 per day now. Yellow-eyed demons. Well, they're always never, ever, unless I am so colorblind. Bluefish is great deep fried. Yeah, my mom fried it one time. Put it down the plate, and that dang stuff was so dang greasy, I don't think we even ate it. I don't eat bluefish. I keep hearing all this, eat bluefish, try it, oh, it's great. I don't like any fish that when I skin them, there's all that red underneath their skin. I don't know. Are bluefish very hard to catch, or are they easy to catch by artificial or live? Who said that? Bluefish were born for smoking. You got that right. Every oily SOB out there, when you smoke it, hey, anything's good when you smoke it. Okay. 42 Marika said, are bluefish very hard to catch? Are they easy to catch by artificial or a live bait? Yeah, they're super easy to catch. Once you find them, they will eat a silver hook. I've caught them on silver hooks, just sweeping my rod up and down right next to the boat. Hey, Biker Don made it. Biker Don's in here. Okay, finally here. Got here finally. Biker Don. Okay, well, let's move on. Sheep's head. I don't know if anybody knows this, but, Jacksonville's a bit of a freakville. Just so you know. There's only 2 things that are important in the state of, there's blind, they're easy to catch, bluefish. But Jacksonville, little bizarro world. There's 2 fish that are the most reign supreme in Jacksonville, Florida, that I always think of. One is sheep's head, and 2 is king mackerel. That's it. Let's put it this way. Right now, if you go to the boat ramp, let's see, what are you saying there? Orwalk. You take a brick and a bluefish, you put it in the oven for 15 minutes, take the fish and the brick out and eat the brick. Except in the South, we always say cedar plank, not brick. Me with knives. No redfish? Well, we'll get to redfish. But there's 2 fish that are reigning supreme in Jacksonville, Florida, as I see it. You go to the boat ramp right now and you survey everybody at the end of the day coming in, or let's say in the morning, everybody that's leaving. I would say that well over 50% of everybody that is putting their boat in the water is going to tell you they're going sheep's head fishing. That's the average person. Oh man, we're going out to catch sheephead. We're going to catch sheephead. Okay? And then in the summer, let's say the middle of July, everybody's leaving in the morning, and you survey everybody leaving, what are they doing? King mackerel fishing. They're not going to tell you they're going barracuda fishing. They're going king mackerel fishing. That's the two that reign supreme in Bizarro World, Florida. So, why would the trout regs be so screwed up? I mean, I got a video from years and years ago where I am absolutely smoking the gator trout. Okay? Oh, Blasted Cat just jumped in there. Blasted Cat says, I just jumped in here. Did I miss the talk on my trout? No. We were just starting. We were talking about regulations and the two fish that reign supreme, and that is sheepshead and king mackerel in my mind. And from my personal observations at the boat ramp and things like that. So why would trout be so screwed up in this section of Florida? It's screwed up in every section because it is completely regionalized. Okay? Now, here, you're allowed 1 over 19 inches for the whole boat. Spotted sea trout may not possess more than 1 over 19 inches per vessel. It used to be 1 over 20 per person on the boat. And they got all these zones. It's worse in other zones. You go to the CE zone, Central East, I guess. It's 2 per person. Closed in November, December in the Southeast or Central East zone. So, I mean, we've got it good here. But see, even on a charter now, I'm not allowed to have a limit. I'm not allowed to even, you got limits? Well, it doesn't worry you. You don't have to worry about that here because you never catch limits. I mean, you're not going to go out in Jacksonville, Florida with, say, 4 people, not very often, because I've done it a long, long time. You're not going to go out and get, those people will not get their 5 per person from 15 to 19 inches. It's not going to happen because there's too many little ones. So, let's see. Captain Dave is the gator wrangler of the East Coast. No, not really anymore. I'm going to 42 Marika, I'm gonna up your comment here. They said whoever did that is okay. That's one just stupid. Whoever made that a low, screw you. Yeah, I mean they're out to screw you. That's the reason I did the topic. Quit fishing. The underlying reason for regulations. Because they want you to quit. Now, I was hoping Eddie would show up in here, okay? Because Eddie does some guiding and stuff up in a lake in, I'm hoping I'm getting this right, Western South Carolina. I think it's called Lake Hartwell. It's a giant reservoir somewhere. He goes out almost like, it seems like every trip. I wish Eddie would jump in here. He goes out almost every trip and limits out on stripers because they do the exact same thing. My cousin goes in Lake Texoma, which sits on the border of Oklahoma and Texas. And they go out every single day, these guys, and catch cookie cutter stripers. Because you know what? That's what people want. And my cousin, they don't even eat fish. Her husband is a butcher. They're beef people. They're Texan. Texan beef people. They don't eat fish. So they go out and they limit out in a matter of hours. That's what people think they're doing when they come to the state of Florida. No matter their skill, they don't have no skill set, and they still think that. Okay? So here, let's look at another one. Of course, you got redfish. In Northeast Florida here in Jacksonville, it's 2 per harvester per day. Okay? Which is everything I was against. You know why? Because I don't catch any keepers. Hardly ever in the main river where I fish and at the inlet. We don't catch keepers. So then you're going to come in and have people pull out 2 instead of 1 that were 18 to 27 inches. They fought like holy hell. They fought like holy hell to make redfish in the state of Florida. The Florida Conservation Association, now referred to as the Coastal Conservation Association. They fought like hell. They went to meeting after meeting after meeting in Tallahassee and sat there with red hats on with, FCA on it with a redfish picture. And they went there every single meeting and showed their support for making red drum, redfish, a state fish that's referred to as a game fish. Can't be bought, sold, bartered, exploded, shot, netted, nothing. And now it is, 40 years later? And now they make it 2 per person. It used to be 1. But in this area of Florida, Northeast Florida, it's 2. And I'll continue to not catch keepers. Because as soon as they get to be 19 inches or whatever, there's 2 of them out of the water by some guy sitting up in a little marshy creek. I mean, heck, I'd do the same if I was out there with my kids sitting in my, my John boat. So that's basically some of the things that are really, really screwy with these inshore fish. Besides, they really just put the screws on us for flounder. Minimum size limit is 14 inches in the state of Florida. 5 per person. Closed October 15th through November 30th. Because that's one of the best times of the year. You know why snapper? Let me tell you why red snapper, if you're in Florida, is a 3-day season, 1 weekend, and a 2-day season, another weekend, or whatever. In the middle of July, it's because it's not the season. It's not really the season. You're going to go out there and sweat to the oldies when it's a lot nicer in October to do it, or April, okay? They're not going to do it then. They're not going to do it. And then all these regulations with this fish descending tool. Okay, here I am, and nobody's doing this. I hate to tell you, but I don't think nobody's doing it. Okay, you're out on a charter or something. Okay, bam, big snapper. Bam, big snapper. Bam, big snapper. Okay, well, let me deflate them and put this thing through their jaw and lower them down so on the fish descending device so they can come off. Okay, let's do another one and do another one and do another one. You think what are you going to do? Spend your whole goddamn day sending fish back down to the bottom? They get eaten by cudas and they get eaten by sharks. But you, a tax-paying citizen that pays extra excise taxes for fuel, you spend more on fuel, you spend more on taxes, all this stuff, fishing licenses and everything. You are not allowed to have one. Well, during the snapper season, you're allowed to have one in the heat of July. And they did that on purpose because they know every boat ramp on the east coast of Florida is going to be a circle jerk from hell and back. I've done it twice, and I'll never, ever do it again. People are at the boat ramp at 3 and 4 a.m. putting their boats in the water. I mean, you think they don't know this? They know how to screw you over. That's their job. Just like sleepy asshole Joe is screwing the entire country now. Okay? They know. They've got it down pat. And the Democrats wrote the book. So, let's see what else we got here. I'm not going to harp on this. There's just a few that Barracuda. I read this. I heard this come down the grapevine. Somebody said it to me and I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Now, it's not regionalized, okay? Where is this? Yeah, somebody told me about this. The Great Barracuda. Regulations only apply in Collier, which this is, it's okay. Screw this. Me personally, South Florida. Great place to visit. That's what I call it. A great place to visit. Regulations for Great Barracuda. Collier County, Monroe, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, and Martin counties. Not less than 15 inches and no more than 36 inches. 2 per person or 6 per vessel. May possess 1 over 36 inches per vessel, unregulated in all other areas. See, that's what I was told. Somebody said to me, man, can you believe down in South Florida you got CUDA regulations? I'm glad they're unregulated here because, man, we used to just bump the shit out of them because they were eating all our fish. So, let me discuss the other thing that I wanted to talk about. You know I'm a big proponent of keeping your engine clean. Well, I found on Amazon the thing that everybody hated about Ridlime. Ridlime is a descaling agent for your outboard. And I'll tell you, it worked fantastic in like my toilet. Because I have such minerally well water that it builds up all that scale down there in a water puddle, okay, in your turlet, okay? And I put Ridlime in there, and it did like that because Ridlime, being a descaler, goes in and gets rid of all those minerals and salt buildup. Well, the big complaint about Ridlime was you buy it, it's $39.99 or something, and then they charge you shipping $15 for shipping or something, and nobody wanted to buy it. Okay? And I even had to bite the bullet because I wanted to use it. Well, on Amazon, and I put it on my Amazon Tools of the Trade page, which there's a link below in the video description. I talked to a man on the phone just last week who did not know what the video description was. And I said, if you're on a computer, look at the words down below the video that says show more. If you're on a dumb phone, it's a little tiny arrow thing over in the corner of your dumb phone. Okay? So I found where it's prime, a stuff called Mainstream Descaler, Multi-Purpose Concentrate, Marine Flush Cleaner and Descaler. Non-corrosive, non-toxic, biodegradable, 0 VOCs. Long-time exposure to sunlight may fade the red color, but it will not degrade the performance of the material or the chemical. Unique color indicating chemistry. Turns yellow when more concentrated descaling solution is needed. Okay? It is made by Mainstream Engineering, Rockledge, Florida. Rockledge, Florida. That's where it's made. It's It's made in America. It's made in Florida. Okay, and if you're a Prime member, it's $39.95, or if you were on my Amazon Tools of the Trade page, which throws me those little tiny cents, it's $40, I believe. So I'm going to get this next time. I found it and I wanted to mention it because the big thing about people descaling their engines, who's that? Oh, Alan Harding must have caught 100 pounds of red snapper. Yeah, I mean, people are fishing out there, and that's what they're catching. 100 pounds of red snapper last week on a Georgia reef. Would love to at least keep one. Yeah, of course. Of course. So, yeah, there's that descaler. If you're wanting to get the St. Johns River and St. Johns River estuary water out of your engine, I would recommend descaling it on a schedule. Once a year, twice a year, something like that. Because if you ever looked at some of my Suzuki videos, what I pulled out of my engine after 4 years of running and not flushing it in a tub, there you go. All right, another thing that kind of came up this week, and I kind of understand why, is I do not believe I am going to be commenting to every Tom, Dick, Harry, and Alice that ever comments on my YouTube page. Because you can't even mess around. I mean, people are so serious. Oh, they're out to catch you. They want to catch you. They have an answer. They want the answer, and if they don't get it, you're doing something wrong. You know. And 99% of the time, I'll tell you why they do that, is because I know they're probably on a phone. They're watching the videos on a phone. 42. Marika says, hey, I have to go. Hope you'll have a nice afternoon and hope you have a good day. See you later. All right. Thanks for stopping by. But, you know, on these videos, if you're not like a frequent flyer, something kind of thing, I don't know if I'm going to be commenting, because you can't comment to people and make them happy. There's that old saying is, you can't make everybody happy. And I know other channels that they don't reply to comments. You know, if they know somebody, fine. If I know somebody, this is a way for me to get to know you guys, okay, by doing the live stream every Sunday, let's say. That's how I can kind of get to know who's who. But just people flying in that want to give you grief, and then they claim they're not giving you grief just because you maybe don't reply to them the way they want you to reply. I mean, it could be like a full-time job just sitting around, you know, trying to make everybody happy. So that's another thing. Now, let me talk about something that absolutely follows up on last week's live stream. And I hope he's not going to mind. He's not on here, and I wish he was, but I'll tell you what I know. One of my subscribers, long time subscriber, Eddie Watford. I don't think he'll mind. He's happy as a clam. God dang, is he excited. He just ordered a 23 Maycraft. What were we talking about last week? We were talking about the Seahawk, all the rather affordable boats, the Seahawk, the Maycrafts, I don't know, you guys were throwing in other brands. I mean, another sort of affordable is the Carolina Skiffs and stuff like that. So we were talking about all these. Well, Eddie went yesterday, I believe it was, and ordered a 23 Cape Craft Maycraft. 23, 22 and a half. I believe it's the same boat, same mold I had on mine, which was 22, 6 inches. Now, what makes the Cape craft is, I thought, kind of interesting. They have two different degrees of boats. They've got the Cape craft, and then they got what they call in the center consoles, the CCX. Well, the CCX has a closed transom and a bracket on the back. I got kind of a scratchy throat. I was at a memorial service yesterday in a room with like 50, 60 people, and I had a dude behind me that was hacking a lung or something, and I kept trying to, I don't know, now I got sort of a scratchy throat here. My neighbor passed away next door. So I went to his memorial and I had to sit in a room with all these people, and that is not me in any way. But Eddie went and got this boat, and it's going to take 3, 4, 5 months before it's, done or whatever. But it was interesting. He said something about if you actually go and finance it and get the job or get the deal done and in the works, you are like this high on the list of getting your boat built. If you just walk in there and say, hey, yeah, I'm thinking about getting one of these. Can I give you a deposit? Well, you're going to be down here and getting your boat built. And to answer a lot of people's questions, and I believe old iFish, I mean, he's been a subscriber for a long time. He gave me a rash of crap about even talking about a new boat on a comment, not in the live stream, but afterwards. Oh, you don't want to do this, don't do that. And this is a guy who just bought a brand new Dodge truck. One of the eco diesel Dodges. Yeah, but that's okay for him to buy an eco diesel Dodge, but it's not okay for me to have a bigger boat because I'm actually making money with my boat. That is my living. So he's giving me a rash of crap. But I can tell you honestly, this is what upset me when Eddie told me this. I said, so are you financing it? And he goes, oh yeah. I got 6% interest rate. I was like, what? My credit union was 7.5, 7.75. I actually talked to a guy because I'm just curious. I went to the Small Business Administration and kind of signed up for these approved sort of lenders. Okay, I got barraged by these lenders, probably 30 of them. Sent me emails. And got through all this stuff with this guy. And I said, why is the SBA involved in this? And why are you involved with the SBA? Because they guarantee half of your loan. Whatever your loan amount is, this was only up, what we were discussing, a loan amount only up to $50,000. So the SBA guarantees 25 of it. So it behooves these lenders to work through them because they know half of it is a guaranteed. The risk is lower. And he told me the interest rate was 11.5%. And Eddie just told me he got through the dealer 6%. I almost think I thought he was telling me a joke. I thought it was a joke. If there's anybody out there in the finance world that kind of knows anything about this, put up a comment. I mean, I don't know, how can you get 6%? I mean, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But Eddie's getting a new trailer. He's getting a 200, I think, Yamaha. It's going to be the Cape Craft version, which is the cut transom. Let's see. No, he's not getting a lot. It's just a bare bones boat, and he doesn't even want them to attach the leaning post live well combo that comes with the boat because he doesn't even want it installed or something. So we'll hear more about that when it comes. But if anybody out there, I see there's 15 of you out there right now. Does anybody know anything about these interest rates and stuff? Because 6%, that's kind of unbelievable, isn't it? Am I wrong by thinking 6% is ungodly right now with what they're talking about on the news and everything? And I was told 7.5 from my credit union, or 7.7 or something. And then this guy with the SBA talking about 11.5%. That's credit cards. That's a credit card, 11.5%. Or, I know, 11 credit cards could be 20-something%. But I was really glad he pulled the trigger so quick. He hasn't been on any live streams, and I haven't really talked to him other than he told me he was interested in getting a bigger boat. Okay, maybe fishing for snakeheads is an option. You know, we don't have any snakeheads here. But they fish for snakeheads in South Florida. Oh, they go in the canals and they catch the knife fish or whatever they are that go backwards when you hook them. You know, the peacocks and the all them Brazilian fish they dumped in the water down there, and the snakeheads. All this crap got in there because people were dumping it or something. These people from all over the world that live down there in South Florida. Let's see. If you think spotted sea trout is screwed up, look at the weak fish regs. It's Delaware state fish and should be on a milk carton. Me with knives just said that. Should be on a milk carton, huh? Well, I hate to say they're me with knives. One of my favorite fish for charters is not sheep's head, because I just did that video the other day where we went out with a whole container of fiddler crabs that we use for sheep's head, and they didn't catch anyone. One guy caught one about that big. It was the size of a bluegill, and I only caught like 2 of them in a trout. They can't catch them because you can't kind of just sit there and expect. Now, these same 2 guys that I took out on the charter last week, we slaughtered them last year. But they were suicidal last year. They were hard to catch this year. We should have gone, as the video said, we should have gone float rig fishing, because the float, let me repeat this so you know, the float catches everything that'll eat a shrimp. It catches. And if they're not catching, there ain't no fish there, because the float catches fish. And that's what we should have went and did. You know, but our weak fish here in Northeast Florida, this will make you sick. Me with knives. Weak fish, you know, really, Northeast Florida, basically around here, is about the furthest south reaches, sort of true weak fish. Not sand trout, not a gray trout, not white trouts, whatever. Weak fish. We're allowed 100 pounds per person. 100 pounds per person. Now, I'll tell you something. That and whiting. And I don't know if whiting are everywhere. Whiting. You know, the little silver and gray. There's 2 different species here in Northeast Florida. I love them both. And yeah, the weak fish, last year we were really smoking them. Now this year we got them. We just have caught them a couple times in the last couple trips. And when these guys weren't catching sheep's head, we went to my weak fish spot, and we were just gonna get into them. And it started 40-mile-an-hour winds and driving rain, so we had to leave. So that was that. But believe it or not, in other areas of Florida, just north of us, you're allowed to catch one that is in the management area at 12 inches. and you're allowed to keep one. Oh my God, that's unbelievable. So nobody has any ideas about these interest rates? We have no people in high finance out there? No people in high finance. So I was hoping Eddie would jump in here. He said he was going to put it on his calendar because I wanted to ask him about his boat that he's having built. Because the boat topic last week was big time. I went and looked at, I guess it was, who was it? It was, Shore Sharp. Shore Sharp was the one who told me about the Evans. I looked him up. Oh, man. See, we don't have anything like that around here. We don't have any boat yard like that that's doing stuff like that or even building boats. And they said on their website, they don't even really promote building the boats. But that's some, it's so funny how things are regionalized. They're regionalized as far as fish species in the state of Florida, and boats are so regionalized. You need super shallows over in Texas in the bays, and over here, shallow water boats, kind of cutting your nose off to spite your face then, and a shallow water boat over here. So what else we got here as far as the size limits that struck me? I'm not really, oh yeah. The one thing that I thought there was a regulation pretty much on the black tips. But here's the funny thing is, there's a retainable shark size of 54-inch fork length on a spinner shark, right? But not on a black tip. Black tips and spinners are kissing cousins. They are so closely related, it's unbelievable. In habitat, the way they feed, the way they bite, the way they look, So that's sharks. That's something that I didn't really realize. I don't keep sharks anyhow, for the sheer fact during the summertime, people want to keep sharks, and I say, well, let's go catch a little tiny one then. Because there's no way anybody's going to eat all that shark meat. It just goes to a waste. So, no other comments. No comments by, I thought for sure Biker Don would jump on in here. I don't see any other comments. I'm looking at them all. Warlock, no comments. Weak fish are pretty much disappeared at this point. At one point. Disappeared at one point. Warlock. Well, you sure did catch some nice ones when you did catch them. So. But they come back strong. Well, you know what? The same thing here is they're very cyclical, it seems like. The weak fish here are very cyclical because we caught some really good sized ones last year. Decent. But they weren't in their stereotypical, places where they hang out. 10-year cycles, they say. Yeah, I can almost believe that because 10 years ago, we were wearing them out at the jetties. Big. I used to go to the jetties in February, and because I always called them February trout. Because years ago, speckled trout was closed in the month of February. So we'd go over to the south side of the South Jetty and at the jetties at the inlet. And you can make 4 casts per person. Because back then, weak fish was 4 per person at 12 inches. back then. Now they're wide open practically. And we'd make 4 casts apiece on a rising tide, and everybody would have their 4, and then we'd turn around and leave. And that was at least 10 years ago. And then they went right on down. So nobody knows anything about interest rates, huh? Because I certainly don't know other than what I have been told. So let's see what else anybody else has to say here. Not much. Let's see. Bluefish were born for smoking. Yep. Oh, yeah. Warwalk says, if you're keeping up with it, the initial hit on your bait from a weak fish is so strong. Yeah, they really whacked the living hell out of it. That's for sure. So, but I really was hoping, golly, I was hoping Eddie Watford would jump in here and kind of tell me a little inside dope on ordering his boat. Because I'm so interested. You know, I had a Maycraft 23-foot cut transom back in 1996 to 2006. So I should be becoming Eddie's best friend because I know everything there is to know about those boats. Mine came with a bow rail. I took that off because it was in the way. I have a picture on my community page where I put some posts. I put a picture of mine looking down on it back when it had a 200 horsepower Evinrude on it that I blew up. I blew that engine up at least twice. And you know what it was always from? Orwalk would like this. From lack of lubrication. Could Eddie have used a HELOC type loan to get such a good rate? No, I don't believe so. He told me he did his financing at the dealership. And when I said to him, yeah, they better give you good stuff, good finance rates, or they'll never sell a boat. It seems like the same thing that they did. My credit union was for absolute crap. When I went to them to get my truck like 10 years ago, bought my truck in 2010. Okay. And it's a 2008. Back in 2010, I would go to them and I say, hey, I want to buy a truck. All right, well, that's this. You got to go through this. We need a profit and loss statement. We need all this crap from you. And the interest rate was not great. Well, I go to the dealership up in North Carolina. I said, hey, yeah, I'd like to apply for some financing. Now, I didn't get the greatest rate in the world, but it was like, boom, okay, an hour and a half later, I walk out the door, drive the truck home from Jacksonville. They're going to make sure that they're going to get you something. So that's how even Eddie said that. Even Eddie mentioned that. So that could have been the deal. There's maybe not a lot of people walking in there and ordering, a $50,000 or $60,000 boat. Who knows? So that's all I can tell you because that's all he told me. But my Maycraft, I took the bow rail off first thing, and I love the fact that the bow rail had the stanchions coming down. And it was a round base where it went to bolt in, and there was a bolt welded to the bottom. So when you took off the bow rail, you had one hole per stanchion. And all I did, you'd think, fill it in with some marine text or, fill the hole. It was a little bolt hole, little tiny hole. What I did is I took round top stainless steel carriage bolts and went and filled inside where it was raw wood, I guess you could say, filled inside, and then dropped that carriage bolt down there and put a nut on the back. And it was fine till the day I sold it. Looked like it. People would say, "What's that bolt there?" I said, "Hey, that's holding the boat together." That's what it looked like. And then I took my T-top off. He's not getting a T-top. He's taking a, it comes with a leaning post, live well combo, I believe. I mean, and he's telling him not to install it. Not to install it. Well, there's going to be a hole in the deck that they're going to have to put a plate on or something, because in that hole is where the water comes up from the bilge with the pump and the water exits to go out the back of the boat for the live well. I don't know. I'd say keep that, but I mean, he doesn't want to do it. Where he fishes, this Lake Hartwell, or God, I wish I'd get this right. I mean, it's stocked. I mean, the fish in there must be through the roof. If you can go out with 4 guys every day and come out and come back with what, 10 stripers or 5 stripers per person or something, right? I mean, the fishing is through the roof. Unlike, fishing the Atlantic. Everybody that I've known who was a saltwater guide or saltwater commercial fisherman, you know what they all end up doing when they get old? They end up retiring to some lake somewhere where they can chill. They don't have the pressures of the salt water. They don't have to worry about getting their butt handed to them all the time. They don't have to worry about the limits changing with the breeze, okay? They just go and do their fishing in a nice freshwater reservoir somewhere. Well, Eddie tells me this thing is like 900 feet deep, or I don't know, something. So that's where he's fishing. Because I always said to him, your fish can't go nowhere. He's like, yeah, they can only swim 50 miles. I give him grief all the time about fishing in the rain barrel. And he goes, yeah, the rain barrel's 900 feet deep and 95 miles long. And yeah, I'm just giving him a rash of crap, So he does that. I remember when he used to talk about catfish and bass and all that, but I don't think he does that anymore. So it's a whole different style of fishing, and I am assuming it gets rough out there on this lake. That's why he had a Duracraft or something, like 20-foot John boat, center console. I can't even imagine putting 5 people in that boat, but I don't know. I used to put 4 guys and me on my 23 Maycraft. Ooh, it was a hell of a load. A hell of a load. Now, I'm carrying a giant cooler. I had a coffin box cooler in the bow. I got 30 gallons in a live well, and I had a 202 stroke on it, and then I went to a 204 stroke. That's still a lot. And he's saying, I'm going to be so happy with all the room. Well, yeah, he'll have room. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, you start putting some super heavyweights on there, and the boat, he says, I can't even imagine going to a bigger boat or something, he told me. Because I was talking to him all this morning, believe it, on Facebook, as we were both on the Maycraft owners Facebook page. That's what it was, I guess. So I was talking to him a lot about it, and we were conversing at 5 o'clock in the morning. Go figure. Big time fisherman. He's up early. I'm up early. He's a big hunter too. So, all right. Well, nobody knows anything about interest rates and all that stuff. I'm looking here and I don't see anybody knowing anything about it. So, all right. Well, either way, the point is clear. Descending devices. Oh, and that's another thing, in the state of Florida, pretty soon they're going to tell you what rod and what reel to use. Because, of course, when you're doing all this, bottom fishing and sending all the species back to the bottom or whatever with the descending device. Let me read. They got something in here about the descending device. This isn't new. It's not new. They had an article in here about deflating a fish or whatever and the descending devices. Okay. Because every time you turn around, it's something new, right? Oh, here it is. Here it is. I don't know what fish they're talking about, or if it's all fish, or just certain fish. If your fish needs to be released, it is important to help them get back down to the bottom quickly. Well, you're not going to beat a shark, and you're not going to beat a barracuda. So they have a chance of survival to be caught another day. Okay? It takes a little practice to learn how to do this correctly, but research shows, remember, science. Science is first. Okay, let's see. Oh, you got to learn how to do this and send them down to the bottom correctly. A lip clamp descending device clips into the lower jaw while an inverted hook descending device slides through the fish's lip. Really? You're supposed to be doing all this instead of fishing? You're on a hot bite, and you're supposed to be sending these fish down to the bottom. When reeling fish up from the deep, you may have noticed their bulging eyes, a bloated belly, and protruding intestines, or their stomach is coming out of their mouth. These floaters have barotrauma, or injuries caused by pressure changes when they are rapidly brought to the surface from deep water. Black drum do it in the St. Johns River. Redfish do it in the St. Johns River. Croakers do it in the St. Johns River. Come on, people. Is that next? Hooking up a croaker on this thing and sitting them back down to the bottom and wasting all your time? You're going to have some casualties. You're going to have them. So I just don't get it. I don't get this. I'd love to talk to some charter bottom fishing guys. Okay, venting is an alternative to descending, but is only effective if done correctly. I was told at the bait shop, I thought, that venting a fish is out and this is in. I don't know. A combination of all these things work together. Unless you're using a pressure sensor device that releases fish automatically, you'll need to jig your device to release the fish. Oh my God. They're trying to make us all mechanical engineers or something. So, yeah. Sounds like a load of crap is what Dustin says. Yeah, it is. The sending device is an Aussie invention, yes? No. Warlock asks if it's an invention. It doesn't say who invented it, but you can guarantee somebody on a grant from the federal government, probably, who studied this for the last 10 years, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They were talking about this years ago, and now it's showing up here as a big topic on the fishing regulations, and a giant article inside here. I mean, I've had trout, speckled sea trout, that I caught in 20 foot of water. And I go to release them and they flop around on the surface because they kind of like have their bellies full of air before they go back down. So that's it. I don't have much else to tell you. I really was hoping, I guess I should have texted Eddie. I think I got his phone. I should have sent him an email because I really wanted to hear more about where I can pass it on to you about buying a boat during a recession. But it's not really a recession, according to the Federal Reserve chairperson, human, carbon life form that works at the Federal Reserve. I don't know if she goes by he, she, who the hell knows anymore. That entire clan up there in Washington. Oh my God. So I'll pack this up. I say thanks for visiting. It's been 1 hour and 10 minutes and 38 seconds so far with I believe it was a height of 18 of you were here at one time. So I was really hoping that somebody knew something. Blasted Cat says, good show. It would be better if we knew what we were talking about here as far as these interest rates and stuff. So either way, Eddie always was like, hey, Dave, I'd like to buy your boat. Well, I said to him, oh, good show. Yeah, that was Blasted Cat. Yeah, hit the like button, everybody. It's only got 8 likes. We've only got 8 likes, so that's not like it's going to go very far. But I was like I said, I was hoping Eddie would show up, so we would really get some inside scoop, because I don't think he would mind laying out what happened today up at the dealership. I believe he went to Collins Marine in Smithfield, North Carolina. I believe that's where he went. And he got this, obviously, a super deal of some sort. I don't know. But, all right, we're going to pack this up. I'm actually kind of tired. I was up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock this morning for whatever reason. And guess what I got to do tomorrow? I got to drive 2 hours to Gainesville, Florida, 2 hours back, and then while I'm there, I got to get an MRI on my prostate, and I get squished into a tube, okay? Looking forward to a show with the new descaler. Well, I'll get some. I still have Ridline, so I don't need any, and it's going to work exactly the same thing as the Ridline. There's no difference. West Marine sells it too. You can walk right into West Marine and get the scaler, So they're all going to be basically the same. They're what does it say here? What do they call it? Non-toxic, non-corrosive, non-toxic, and biodegradable. That's quickly dissolves barnacles, biogrowth, water scale, lime, rust, and other formed deposits. Fantastic for flushing your marine engines and your AC systems. Safely restore equipment to full efficiency and opens up flow passages. Well, Ridlime and everybody else does the same. So I don't know if there's going to be a particular show about it or not. So now I just forgot what I was going to say. I was talking about something. What was it? Was I still talking about Eddie? I don't know. But, I was mentioning tomorrow I got to go sit in an MRI tube for 45 minutes. Last time I went, I did something. I've done multiple things to this shoulder, and the tube is like this wide, okay? And I'm like this wide. And I had to sit there, my shoulder all jacked like this. And for 2 days after the MRI, at least, my shoulder was just aching like crazy. So now I get to do it again tomorrow. Okay? My dad's supposedly going to ride with me tomorrow just for somebody to talk to all the way there and back. It's not a fun ride. And then once you get there, he said, it's only going to be an hour and a half or so. Yeah, I'm going to time it. But I just had one of these last April, is what the technician told me, and they didn't find anything. The reason, and if, us guys need to always pay attention to this. If your PSA level, they do the I don't know if it's a piss test or a blood test. Mine is all over the place. 4 years ago, it was as low as a 3. Now it's up to a 12. Okay? It was, years ago, it was a high was a 7 or a 6. But after I had my prostate completely augured, it went down to a 3. Now it's back up to a 12 or something, they're telling me. So it's all over the place, and then a lot of it has to be if you have family history. So, praying for you? Well, yeah, I don't know. Right. Praying for my arm, my shoulder to not be like this, Frank. So, but that's good to hear. I won't know anything. I've already gone in here in Jacksonville. Let's see, what did I have last week? I had a ultrasound last week. This week now, tomorrow, it's an MRI. All kinds of crap. But let's see, what else? Anybody else say anything else here? That's about it. I had a whole bunch of good comments here. Trump 2024 ever. I'll give you a little for instance about that. You said 2024 forever. Me and my dad were talking about getting bumper stickers and making our millions by doing Trump forever, meaning until he gets so old he can't do anything. You know, that would put us, 10 years, 12 years, who the heck knows. So, Blind Abinda, 123, said Trump 2024 ever. All right, well, we're going to pack this up. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for the thumbs ups, the whole 9 yards. Oh, when you're in Gainesville tomorrow, go to Royal King. It's a cool store, sporting goods. Royal King. Huh. I know the Bass Pro Shops there is for crap. Well, keep that in mind. The problem is, it's not until later in the afternoon that I even have this appointment. So it is a day ruiner from the beginning. Because if you remember on Seinfeld, George Costanza always used to say he didn't like doing any doctor's appointments or anything in the middle of the afternoon because it just ruins your whole day. That's what this is like. It's 2 hours to get there. Then you say, let's maybe 2 hours in there, okay, in Gainesville in the VA hospital, and then 2 hours back. That's 6 hours. Then I might have to do it another time when I leave here at 5 o'clock in the morning for an 8 o'clock appointment there. And then you get me in a sporting goods store? Come on. Especially if they got any fishing equipment. So, Dustin Rushing said that. All right, well, that's a good thing to know. Royal King, it's a cool store. Sporting goods. All right, well, every sporting goods, well, not every, I can't say everyone. Many sporting goods store chains in Jacksonville, Florida ain't nothing but, they're just like women's clothing stores with a few fishing aisles thrown in, That's what happens to them all. They find out that they can't make a living selling real sporting goods, right? So they just turn into women's clothing and shoes. Because that's how you can really just keep the women just pumping through the store. And I'll repeat a statement made by a friend of mine that I've known for 25 years. He said, I was behind a woman in the black spandex pants the other day. And he says, I was looking down at her. And he says, there's one thing I wish I could do is shake the man's hand who ever came up with those black spandex pants. Well, the funny thing is, it probably wasn't a man. It was a woman that made those black spandex pants. Woo! Yeah, I know. I was behind one. The best time I ever had with the black spandex pants was at the UPS store. Wow. It was literally unbelievable. So, you won't be disappointed. Well, my dad's going to be with me, and I don't know, I can't drag him through I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind, the Royal King. Okay. That's literally what it's called, Royal King. Huh. I know a guy named, last name's King, and I even knew a guy, his first name was Royal. So, you won't be disappointed. Well, I'll definitely keep that up here and check it out. So, all right. Well, we're going to pack that in. It's an hour and 21 minutes, and everybody keeps getting me on other topics, so I thank you for stopping by. And we'll try to get Eddie on here next Sunday. I think I'm going to try to get him. I'm going to send him a text and say, hey, man, I thought you were going to check us out. So I want him just to kind of talk about, why wouldn't you want to talk about his boat? His boat buying experience or whatever. He is so excited, it's ridiculous. So why wouldn't he want to talk about it? Probably because I started this live stream. Is 6 o'clock okay? Is everybody okay with 6 o'clock? Except Orwalk, you don't comment because you're late. Orwalk was probably too busy eating dinner or something. I guess 6 o'clock is okay. That's what I'll stick with. It's kind of like a Tractor Supply, but it has sporting goods too. Oh, okay. The Royal King. Kind of like Tractor Supply. Oh, okay. We got a Tractor Supply here. I mean, right down the street from me. And it's not that great. It's not that great. But I'm always into looking at the fishing tackle or the sporting goods. All right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with the 6 o'clock to the best of my ability. I'm going to always try to post what the topic will be in my YouTube channel's community page. If you're not familiar where that is, it's actually at the top of my YouTube channel. You can scroll at the very top and you can see community. If you're a subscriber and you've got the notifications set, it will notify you when I do put a post in the community section of my YouTube channel, and then you'll get a notification that there is a live stream starting. So I'm going to try to have a topic each time. This stuff here kind of was really eating my crawl, okay? Because I remember the way it used to be. And I figured that would be a subject for people who are not from Jacksonville, Florida, to kind of see it's not wide open anything anymore. That's what everybody thinks, though, okay? Just like when they come here on vacation, they think tiki bars, sand dunes, thong bikinis, and clean, green, beautiful water. Well, in Jacksonville, you really don't get much of that anywhere, so I mean, that stuff is a little further south. So we're more like Georgia and Jacksonville, but even Georgia probably has cleaner water than we do here, right outside the inlet. And it's because we got a river that comes all the way from Central Florida, hooks a right-hand turn into the Atlantic Ocean right in downtown Jacksonville, turns and dumps all this tannic, brown, sandy, muddy water into the Atlantic Ocean. And that's where I fish. Isn't that wonderful? And that's the reason why we talk about descaling your outboard motor. Yeah, it's wonderful. All right, well, we're going to pack this up. Thanks for stopping by. And I'm going to figure out how to close this out as gracefully as possible without the light blaring me in the face. So I'm turning off the light and going to bid everybody farewell. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by.